Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are completely unpacking the Python v2 programming model for Azure Functions. Now, we've specifically tailored this explainer for those of you who are already super comfortable building serverless architectures using JavaScript or TypeScript, but you're getting ready to make the jump over to Python. We're going to take what you already know and seamlessly translate it into this incredibly powerful new environment. Let's get into it.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the Python v2 model, dive into decorators, triggers, and bindings, look at scaling apps with blueprints, tackle local testing and logging, and finally wrap up with dependencies and deployment methods.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the Python v2 model.
If you've built JS functions in the older v1 model, you absolutely remember the headache of managing those bulky, individual function.json files for every single endpoint. Well, you can completely forget about that now. Python v2 ditches that entirely for an elegant, decorator-based approach right inside a single global function app.py file. Honestly, it's much closer to what you're already used to if you've worked with modern web frameworks.
Because we tossed out all those JSON configs, your project directory gets so much cleaner. Your function app.py file and host.json are your main engines. Those are mandatory. Meanwhile, your requirements.txt handles all your Python packages, which is essentially the exact same thing as your package.json in Node.js. And just like you'd use a .env file locally, you'll use local.settings.json here to securely hold your local secrets.
Moving right along to Section 2, decorators, triggers, and bindings.
If you're coming over from TypeScript, you are absolutely going to love this part. By pulling in the Azure Functions SDK alongside Python's native type annotations, your editor lights up with rich IntelliSense. When you type in an argument as an HTTP request, your IDE instantly knows exactly what methods and properties you can use. It radically speeds up your authoring and catches silly errors before you even run the code.
Now here is a major gotcha for JS devs making the shift to Python v2. In a lot of JavaScript frameworks, you'd expect dynamic URL parameters to be passed straight in as extra arguments to your function. In Python v2, they aren't. Instead, route parameters are pulled directly from the route params dictionary living right on the request object itself. Definitely keep that mental mapping handy because it'll save you a ton of debugging time.
So as you build out your business logic, you might find yourself asking, wait, how do we output to multiple sources at once? Let's say you need to return an HTTP response to your user, but you also need to save a record to a database and maybe drop a message in a background queue.
Instead of writing out a bunch of raw Client connection code, the answer is the out decorator. You use this alongside STK type bindings, like those built specifically for Cosmos DB or blob storage. You literally just use the .set method on those output bindings within your function to push data to multiple streams seamlessly. It abstracts away all that tedious boilerplate connection logic for you.
All right, Section 3, scaling apps with blueprints.
To prevent building a massive, unreadable monolithic file, we use blueprints. If you've ever used express.js routers in the JavaScript world, blueprints are the exact equivalent. They let you break your application down into reusable modules, keeping all your related endpoints grouped together without losing any of your configuration or those awesome decorators. It's honestly a two-step breeze to set up. First, you define your routes in a separate file, say http blueprint.py, using the blueprint object instead of the main app object. Then, step 2, you just register that blueprint over in your main function app.py file. Keeps your entry point totally pristine and your whole codebase super scalable.
Next up, Section 4, local testing and logging.
You've got two stellar options for testing on your machine. The traditional route is booting up the full Azure Functions core tools using the func start command in your terminal, which perfectly simulates the Azure Cloud environment locally. But if you're on a newer SDK, you can actually bypass core tools entirely for quick unit testing. Just invoke the file directly with the Python interpreter. It is incredibly fast for instant validation.
And when things inevitably go sideways? For observability, Azure Functions hooks directly into the standard Python built-in logging module. You do not need to install any heavy third-party logger packages to get this going. You just import logging, write your logs, and Azure automatically beams your debug, info, and error logs straight up to application insights. Zero friction telemetry right out of the box.
I do need to flag one critical technical detail here, though. If you are doing advanced operations and you spin up background threads within your function, you absolutely must explicitly pass the execution context object into that thread. If you forget to do this, the logs generated by that background thread are going to lose their invocation ID. That means those logs get orphaned in application insights, and you won't be able to trace them back to the specific function execution that actually triggered them.
Finally, we hit Section 5, Dependencies and Deployment Methods.
We touched on requirements.txt earlier for managing external packages, but there's a huge update here starting in Python 3.13. Worker dependencies are now fully isolated by default. In the past, if your app used a library that happened to conflict with the underlying Azure Workers version of that exact same library, you'd run into maddening errors. Now, the environments are safely isolated, keeping your deployments totally predictable and stable. It's a real game changer.
When you're finally ready to ship it, you've basically got three main paths. Visual Studio Code is highly interactive and usually the best bet for beginners or rapid prototyping. The Core Tools CLI is amazing for local scripting and cross-platform work. But when you're building serious, production-ready serverless apps, GitHub Actions is the absolute gold standard for creating reliable, automated CI/CD pipelines.
So, the mental bridge from JavaScript is officially built, and your tool belt is totally equipped for Python v2. You know exactly how to structure your folders, leverage IntelliSense, scale up with blueprints, and isolate those dependencies. The decorators are right at your fingertips. So now that you don't have to babysit those old function.json files anymore, what modular Python serverless app are you going to build first? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy coding.